Hi, it's Jeff again with Family Legacy Estate Sale with another one of our videos on collectibles. If you're liking our videos and appreciate the content, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube or like us on Facebook to see all the future videos that we're doing. My video today again is on vintage items, and this one is on Marx Toys. Marx, for those of you in my age group, which is 60, was big in the late 60s and early 70s in action figures. They had the Johnny West line, which is a Western series. They had the Noble Knights. They had the Stony, which was a soldier that was to compete with G.I. Joe. Astronauts. They got into a whole bunch of different types of action figures, and it's a very collectible market. A lot of interest on the secondary market. So if you're going to get involved with buying Marx figures, I would make a suggestion. Get this book, and it is the Encyclopedia of Marx Action Figures. And this has wonderful pictures. It's full color, and it has all the different series of action figures that Marx had created in that time frame. Of course, the Lewis Marx Company was also involved in many other types of toys, train sets and little small action figure soldiers, that kind of thing. But for purposes of this discussion, we're just talking about the action figures, the larger ones. And I've got a couple of examples here. What I've got here is an original Sir Stuart, one of the Noble Knights. He's a Silver Knight, and this is with his original horse, and it's got all the armor pieces. I think the only thing that's missing is the feather from his helmet, but this is all original. And one of the common problems with Marx Toys, the quality wasn't always the best. And if you look at how they attach the armor together, there was these little column snaps where you'd slide a piece of the plastic underneath another piece of plastic, and that plastic tended to crack pretty quickly. So finding armor that has completely unbroken tabs is not that easy. Be on the lookout for that. The other thing is with Marx, especially recently, there's another Sir Stuart with a different helmet on him and stuff like that. But they reissued about 20 years ago some of the Noble Knights. As far as I know, they didn't reissue the horses. So if you are looking to buy a horse and the armor on a horse, I think you're pretty safe that it's vintage. It's from the 60s or 70s. But they did reproduce and re-release the gold, silver, and black Knights, I think about 20 years ago. So if you are looking to buy any of the Noble Knights, be very cautious, and I would not spend big money on it because you don't know if the armor is original or not, if it's vintage stuff. I've looked at the armor on my vintage one, which I've had since I was a kid, so I know that one's original, versus this re-release, and they're virtually identical. I think they may probably use the same dyes, so it's virtually impossible to tell which is old and which is new, other than the fact that if you start looking at some of the tabs on the armor, if there's none that are broken, good chance it's a re-release. Okay, but even the figure itself is identical. So it's very, very difficult. So I would be very cautious to spend any kind of big money on the Noble Knights. I've heard that they also did release some of the Johnny West figures again. So the same caution. If it doesn't look like it's got any wear and play to it, it's probably not vintage and it's a re-release. Remember, kids in our era played with their toys. They didn't leave them in packages. So they got wear and tear, they got paint wear, they got tabs that got broken. So if you don't see any of that, you really have to question whether it's old or not, or if it was just a re-release and somebody's trying to pass it off as older. But it's a wonderful series of toys. The quality of the toys aren't the best. I think I just kind of mentioned that. Not a lot of articulation. So they tended to have a lot of broken elbow joints and things like that. They were really kind of stiff. They didn't sit on their horses really accurately. But for just display purposes, they're really attractive. They're vibrant. And there was a lot of accessories. Here's an example of Captain Tom Maddox, one of the Johnny West line. If you look at his accessories, I mean, there's a whole series of different hats and weapons and accessories and things for the horses. And and another thing that's kind of nice is there's not usually any outfits. There's a vest, a plastic vest on a lot of the cowboy figures. And this is Johnny West. But you weren't, and there's some chaps, but you weren't dealing with clothing that got torn and like you have with G.I. Joes and things like that. The actual clothing was basically part of the mold and is painted on. So you didn't have to deal with a lot of musty, moldy type of old clothing. So from a collector's point of view, that's kind of nice. So, but yeah, Marx, very collectible. It has a lot of interest in the resale market. Be kind of careful if you're really looking to buy and flip items, because again, they have re-released some of the items in the last 20 years, and you really can't tell the difference between the vintage and the re-releases. But for you collectors out there, again, I proudly display my re-release Sir Stuart right next to my vintage. And again, just because they display so well, and they're a great reminder of your childhood. So hope you've enjoyed the video. Please keep tuned for more videos. Check out our website, www.familylegacyestatesale.com. We do sell a lot of different toys, and we're getting new inventory all the time. We'll talk to you soon.